If you were to lift your truck, does that void your warranty? Why don't we clear the air on that? Going over a very important question that I literally get at least twice or 3 times a day. If I were to lift my truck with you guys, would that void my warranty? Lift your truck, put wheels and tires on your truck, same difference. Would that void my warranty? This breaks into a whole realm of maybes, maybe so, this, that. Let's clear the air on all these things. So first off, there's this thing called dealer discretion. Dealer discretion basically means that if your vehicle is lifted, whether or not you bought that from a place like us or you did the lift kit on your own, if you're doing it on your own, hopefully you've done a bunch of them. Don't just try it. It can get dangerous. But if you were to take that to a dealer, the dealer would be able to incite a dealer discretion. And basically that means if you put a 6-inch suspension kit on your truck, and that suspension kit, since you're lifting it 6 inches, adds extra stress to the ball joint, and my ball joint failed, would that be covered under factory warranty? Maybe. That's where dealer discretion comes in. The dealership is allowed to say, all right, you got a suspension kit done, your upper control arm is failing, boom. I'm not gonna cover that due to the fact that you got work done on the suspension itself. Now, with that being said, there are other aspects to this that dealers really do take too far sometimes, and you guys need to know and recognize what you're able to fight with, because that will save you thousands of dollars, especially knowing what's still covered under your warranty and what is not covered under your warranty. Per the Magnuson-Moss Act of 1975, which was a warranty act, it was decided that the dealership would have to prove whether or not the additional modifications, the work done to the vehicle, is a direct cause of what happened to the vehicle if something were to go wrong, and whether or not that warranty would still be covered. So with that being said, you put a lift kit, wheels and tires on your truck, and the dealer is saying, oh, your engine blew out. Nope, absolutely not. You would be able to fight the heck out of that, because that is absolutely stupid. Now, dealerships, you start a court case with one of them, you get into the entire company's budget. That budget is fat. And so that's where they can beat you. Now, if you are willing to go to court over it, you most likely will win the case, especially if you have proof that nothing in the modification damaged the actual piece that is broken. For instance, it's gonna sound like I'm starting to talk crap on just dealerships, but I love you guys. I'm just making sure the people are good. They pull something like saying the transmission is being messed up because of a 4-inch suspension kit. If you have proof that that is not the case, like photos, you would absolutely and should win that case. But with that being said, some of the things that aren't covered is like your upper control arms. When you get a lift kit done on your upper control arms, I always say replace the ball joints like every 4 or 5 years, because you're supposed to anyways. With a lift kit on it, especially like 6 inches and up, 6 is kind of like that peak where you don't really need to replace the entire upper control arm. Once you go to 8 inches, getting a new upper control arm is not a bad idea. And there are certain vehicles where that aspect is, you need to more so than others. So for instance, Chevy and GMCs are renowned for, don't look at the rip in my pants, renowned for, seriously Matt, stop staring. Renowned for having their upper control arms go bad. When you lift them, you definitely want to replace the upper control arm. That's why we got a Rough Country forged upper control arm up in here. And on a lot of them, we actually put the BDS ones. I've found they're a little bit better, not substantially, but the Rough Country upper control arms are absolutely phenomenal and a lot more, they are more affordable. But whether or not you go Rough Country, Ready Lift, or BDS Cognito makes out of this world upper control arms, whether or not you go either of those, that is a good idea to do on GMCs whenever the heck you lift them. I'm talking even a leveling kit. Like, shoot, you have a stock GMC Chevy, just get upper control arms from somewhere else. But when you do a 3-inch and up, 3.5 inch and up, that's where you want to start, actually taking into the fact that you should replace your upper control arms. So definitely do it on GMCs and Chevys. That is one of the things that the dealer could get you for. And so if they're going to get you for it, just replace it beforehand and don't have to deal with that issue. Now that being said, on Fords, Rams, not something you really need to worry about, even up to 6 inches. When you get higher and higher into 8 inches and stuff like that, the kits usually will already come with them. And a lot of 6-inch kits will come with them as well. With those guys, you don't have to really worry about it at 6 inches. Would I recommend replacing the ball joint on them quickly? Yeah, 4 or 5 years, yeah, definitely. Other parts that will come back, and I have seen come back from dealers saying that they're not gonna cover. I've seen dealers say they're not gonna cover anything on a vehicle because it's been worked on. That's complete, it's lunacy. But are they able to tell you that up front and usually get no fight back from customers? Yeah, they are, because they're the dealership, right? A lot of reputable shops, and I'm saying this because we do it as well here, they will do the lift kit, wheels, tires, and I always do, when people, especially when they bring new vehicles in, they will, a lot of times will ask, what about my warranty? And I say, basically what I'm explaining to you guys is the dealer discretion aspect, the whole court case aspect of Magnuson-Moss, and then just lemon laws in between, right? And so there is that. To get rid of that fight, we also do offer a warranty on our own, because we are a dealership that does all these vehicles on a day-to-day basis. We literally have 60 lifted vehicles in this lot that we just got probably in the past 2 months. We deal with this a lot. We offer our own warranty that is guaranteed to cover any of the modifications that we've done, like lift kits and stuff like that, in case you don't want to just get into a battle with the dealership, because that's annoying if it is not directly affected. So like stuff like electronics really don't get messed with at all when doing a lift kit. When you're doing bumpers, installing lights and some, obviously that's going to be something different, right? But those jobs are also pretty easy. You should be able to disprove any dealership from saying that since you put a pod light on your truck, that's the reason that your engine blew up. There's no correlation. So always do the research before on parts, or just have somebody like us do the research on parts beforehand to make sure that it won't actually mess up anything on the vehicle, and also just know what you're getting into. So like the suspension and stuff, those parts typically aren't going to be covered anymore. Now I have had dealerships actually go on the other side and cover everything. For instance, the dealers here in Frederick know our shop, know the amount of work that we put out, and they are phenomenal. So with that being said, the Ford here, the Chevy here, they work with us constantly, and they'll usually cover any of our clients. But it really is a dealer. It is literally a dealership to dealership basis of, oh, does this manager like lifted vehicles, or is he one of the ones that doesn't like lifted vehicles? So some other parts that aren't going to be covered necessarily all the time because they have something to do with suspension is like your sway bar, your tie rods, pitman arms, drive shaft. These guys are all, if not being replaced by the kit that you're doing and they're still factory, those parts may not be covered due to the fact that they all are impacted by suspension. And so those areas of it are ones that you should take into account before doing a lift kit and after doing a lift kit, recognizing that most of those you can buy new ones that go along with your lift kit. That's a good idea, because when you replace the suspension, it's nice to replace all of it, because then you know everything is going to work in sync, instead of some aftermarket parts don't work perfectly in sync with OEM parts. Now with that being said, it is always good to consult somebody about the lift kits, or ask whether or not the parts are going to be compatible with OEM parts. So for instance, like rough country ones, the alignment and stuff is all going to be the same, and that's really a good way of kind of pushing it towards the dealer, make them more in agreement to doing work on the lifted vehicle if the alignment and most of the work is going to be the same, because most of the parts are close to the same as OEM, just usually a little bit larger. So make sure that you do look for parts that are compatible with the OEM system like that. Like for instance, having a vehicle with ARC or adaptive ride control, find a kit that goes along with ARC or adaptive ride control that'll work with it and not against it. All right, so to go over it again, a lift kit, this should not kill your entire warranty whatsoever. There are specific parts that it will. Always make sure that you buy parts that are OEM compatible to limit that case. Now, if you do come up with a case like that where the dealership is saying, oh, your transmission is failing, we're not going to work on it because we're not responsible anymore due to the fact that you modify the vehicle with a 3-inch lift kit. Absolutely not. Don't stand for that. If you need to hire somebody, you need to find proof, go to a local shop that works on lift kits constantly, have them prove to the dealership that that is completely false. Recognize that through Magnuson-Moss, if you read through it, you are absolutely able to go back to the dealership and say, no, you guys are required to fix this due to the fact that this was not touched and does not get affected by the work that I did on my truck. And there are many different lemon laws that you can go through to fight different cases, but that being said, dealer discretion does take into account whether or not a dealer is going to say, yeah, absolutely, we're gonna work on your truck. Maybe we'll work on most of the stuff, just not the stuff that's affected by the suspension. That's the typical case. Or, no, we're not gonna work on anything. That no, we're not gonna work on anything is the part where you guys need to realize that in the case that you do something like a supercharger, that is something where they can void a lot of different other parts that are affected by the supercharger. But that supercharger is not going to affect stuff to do with his suspension. So your suspension work is going to be perfectly intact. They should still warranty that. Look at what parts of the vehicle are impacted by and realize what parts are not impacted by. Those are going to be your two aspects of what you actually are probably going to be covered for and what you might not be covered for. If you do have any questions about any of this or want somebody to do research for you, we'd be more than happy to. Give us a call at 301-694-4642. Talk to an agent, or sorry, a rep, an agent, not a daggone insurance company, but talk to one of the reps here. Me, Kyle, Nick, Kevin, Marissa, we'd all be more than happy to help you with any situation that you have. But also look at the research and do the research before buying parts to make sure that they do work with your factory vehicle to limit that type of conversation that comes up with a dealer. So that's a wrap up of whether or not your truck's warranty will be good after lifting it. In most cases, you can fight off a lot of what dealerships say. But if you want to avoid all this, get a warranty through the company that you did your lift kit with. If they are a constant provider of lift kits, they usually have one, and we'll be able to cover all this even if it's lifted wheels and tires. So we will see you guys in the next one. Leave a comment if you have any questions. And yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe to Krietz Customs to win a free set of wheels and tires. If we hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, we'll be giving away a set just like this, a 35, 12, 50, 22 Fury Country Hunter on a 22x12 fuel wheel. If you want those, go ahead and subscribe to Krietz Customs, and we will see you when we give you those wheels away.